Morning traders, it's the pre-market prep for the S&P 500 futures. Taking a look at the market, we've had some weakness overnight. We've dropped down to the bottom of the range. We just continue to chop sideways. We've been chopping sideways for the entire week. At this point, at some point, it's going to break out, and half of these people are going to need to reverse their positions. So where do we go? Let's take a look at the charts. Let's do it. Morning traders, welcome to the S&P 500 pre-market prep for 6/14/2019, 5:30 in the morning. Took me a little bit of time to switch over my charts, so it's contract rollover. I've moved to the 9/19 chart for my trading, and volumes look a little bit low over here, but we'll see what happens during the day. The weekly chart, we're looking at the weekly chart right here, and we're pretty much like a doji, right? And then you have this volume node right here that we're just kind of chopping around in, and it's built up over here too on this side. So this seems to be a pretty big area. What has happened is everybody's taken a lot of positions in this area with all these daily candles, and when it breaks out, either to the upside or downside, all these people are going to have to reverse that have positions, and they're kind of waiting for the signal for one direction or the other. To the downside, we're thin through here, so if we get a move to the downside, it could go pretty quick. You've got some nodes up here we can call some levels. The top of this candle where it stalled out yesterday after hours is right in the 2904 range. It was like actually 2902. Which was right into this gap right here and right underneath this volume node on this guy. You got 2908. We've got that 1011 area that we kind of hit before and sold off. You've got this candle all the way up here at 15 now. There's nothing really here. I mean, I'm not saying that it can't stop here, but more than likely it would trade across here and get up into this node like at 22, 23. I kind of like 22, 23 right there. And then you have 27 up here. But, I mean, there is a node right here. It's just not like a big shelf of volume. You have more of a shelf on 14. On the downside here. I mean, this is real low volume, but we haven't been trading in heavy volume. You've got the 80 level, 79, 80 right here, where we built just a ton of volume. They were able to trade through it with the news yesterday, but it was quickly recovered. You get a smidge at 69. There's more of a shelf here at 66. I think we actually traded down here in the old contract, but because it's 4 points, I think 4 points higher. I'm not sure. 65, and then I kind of like this shelf down here on this candle. I'm going to call it 46. There's something here, but I don't know. 40, 46. God, this is so thin right through here on this candle that I don't want to call anything. 65. 70, and then this 80 area again. You're banging against this 88, which we just, I think, bounced off of. So let's look at it on this other daily chart. If you've watched some of my older videos, you've probably seen this, how I've kind of mapped out the range extensions on the daily, and it's interesting to see that when we zoom in, you know, where did we really kind of trade down into? We're balancing right across this range extension right here. So we've traded up above it, found support on it now, and this keeps on making me lean towards a higher move up here, just because it usually makes an attempt to get all the way across the range extension. But enough of that. 240. Oh, just moved that guy. Shouldn't have done that. $240, you can see, we basically traded up yesterday into this volume node. Pretty good rejection off of it, right? Traded back down. We're kind of testing the top of this one and getting a bounce at this point. So did we bounce through this? And this area gets thin. This area isn't great. This is the 7-8 area that we keep on talking about. The 10 area is this little node right up here. The volumes haven't been great, so these little nodes have been working, but in reality, you kind of want to stick with something that's got a lot of volume if you want to try and go the other direction for a couple points. But if the volume stays low, these little nodes will be able to reverse it for a couple points. Downside, you can definitely see where we traded down into this node on the news and bounced, and that lined up with the volume profile in the front here. You've got this node, but you've got this big old gap right here, so I'm not sure if you just kind of count the other side at 61. But I think it kind of falls through because there's no real positions in this bar. And then you get all the way down here into these nodes at this point. And you can see that there's a little bit of candle symmetry here where I've drawn some of the scalping lines. With the candles across the top, you're starting to get kind of overlapping. This was a big move, and you could get a fast move back through it. 60 minutes. So I started doing this because the ranges are so tight. This, you can see 80 down here below has a lot of volume to it. So here's a spot just right below that if you get down here, you could potentially get a good little bounce off of. So 80 on the bottom right here. This is overnight volume, which I really don't like, because people that just use daily time frames sometimes won't pay attention to this stuff. But it's 2900. That is an important level, and so you could get a reaction because of the round number. And because there's volume right here, you can see that other people are trading this round number 2900. Up here, you kind of have a pretty good little node going from 6 to 8. We've called 8 several times. It hasn't always worked. It worked over here, but let me pull this guy back. You can see that he traded up. Kind of got stuck in the 6-7 area and then blasted through. But when you kind of profile this guy right here, these two little nodes or two bars, this 8 area is still in play and still has lots of volume to it. So this could be an area, if we're able to break out here, that it could stall out and make another reversal, right? And the intraday right here, not a whole lot of bars on the 919 as far as the tick goes, right? So we're into the tick charts at this point out of the minute charts, and tick volume has been, you know, light for yesterday, and it's almost right. It's almost better today compared to what we had yesterday. You know, you've already almost traveled the same number of bars. I'm surprised though with this delta that they didn't buy it up, because you know they put 20,000 delta in here at the end of the day. It only shows 10,000 on this new contract, but on the old contract yesterday, on the 619 contract, it was 20,000. So I mean, they bought pretty heavily. I'm hoping everybody's going to switch over today. It seems like the right day to do it. And so you see weakness overnight, bouncing, found support across this node right here. It's got support. It's maybe a weak bounce, so we're kind of waiting to see if it trades back down into 29.88 and then bounces again, or if it goes past that, then we're going to kind of expect that it's going to come down here to the 80 level. So 12,000, I don't think there's much to do about that. And then the symmetry lines for range extensions, you can see we traded right up into this one, traded down, got a bounce right off of that one, come down. We've traded through, but we didn't trade across yet. So part of me says this, you know, you could trade down to the 84, and then here's that 80. It lines up nicely with what we were looking at on the other chart for the volume node. So it could make two stops down and then bounce. And here's that weird sell off overnight. You know, everything's with this 19 contract, everything looks really kind of weak and ugly, because there's just not a lot of bars here yet, because there's just not a lot of trading. But we're back up above this, so you know, you could head the other direction, but yeah, I don't know. So, and anything else, this was just an extra. I was basically trying to judge and look at the two contracts and judge when there was enough volume to get over to the new contract. And so I had both the 6 and the 19 going at the same time, and that's how I kind of made my determination to make the move. Anything else that I can tell you for the day? Scalping lines haven't really worked all that great because the range is too tight. Got 10-point range. Hopefully we'll get some movement today. Like I said, when it breaks out of this range right here, you know, half the people have to reverse, and it should get a pretty good movement. We're you know, definitely compressing the range, and that compression, you know, if you look at Bollinger Bands or something like that, that compression will usually cause a breakout. So just keep that in mind, that you could get a big move when everybody's got to exit. So whichever direction it looks like we break out, try and go with that flow, and hopefully you'll catch the ride either direction. Stay neutral in your thought patterns. You can have a bias, but be able to reverse that bias if it's not working and you are losing trades. So usually when you're fighting something, you're losing, and if you keep on fighting it, you just lose more. But anyways, I will see you at the end of the day for the chart review. Good luck in your trading. Take care.